Shabbat shalom. Uh, I think I think it's time. I think I'm finally ready. Um, we have to start talking about Passover. I know. I don't want to talk about it either. Um, but we have to understand it's coming up. Before we know it, it's going to be here. It's going to be time. The truth is, we have been in Passover, Pesach prep mode for a little while in our house. I remember a few weeks ago, maybe a little more than that, even when Ilana came home with the first box of matzah for the year, and I thought she was nuts. But here we are. Here we are, just a few days away from the first Seder, just a few nights away from the first Seder. Has anyone here made their own matzah before? Oh, very good. Okay, we're coming to you for Seder. No. I haven't. I love baking. I talk about, I think fairly often, my love for baking. And I would imagine at first it's just water and flour, so how hard can it really be? Maybe those of you who put your hands up, maybe we'll do a class here before next year, Pesach, how to make your own matzah. But my understanding is that even though perhaps the baking is easier, the ingredient list is short, there's a lot of sort of tiny little details and specific things to remember to make it halachically kosher. So from the little I've read, it's not as easy as I would think. You can correct me at Kiddush if I'm wrong. The most important thing, I think, obviously, about making matzah is you can't let it rise, right? Matzah is very time-bound or time-restricted. It was made in haste by our Israelite ancestors, and so we mimic that, and we rush to make matzah as well. And that haste, that sort of energy towards doing everything, doing mitzvot, that haste and that energy should be present, according to our rabbis, in everything we do, not only in making matzah. Our parsha this week, Tzav, opens with God telling Moshe, "Command Aaron and his sons thus." This is the rule of the burnt offering and then all the other offerings after it. Tzav et Aharon ve'et banav lemor, zot Torat ha'olah. This is the first use of the word tzav anywhere in the Torah. Tzav, tzadi vav, as in mitzvah. If mitzvah in Hebrew is a noun, is a commandment, then tzav is an imperative verb. Command him like this. Instruct him this way. Because it's unique, the rabbis wonder and ask questions about this word tzav. And ultimately, Rabbi Ishmael and his school explain in the Talmud that the word tzav is an expression of galvanization, of eager attraction, not just to a person, but to a concept. It conveys a sense of urgency. Kol makom shene'emar tzav, eno ela zeruz. Everywhere the word tzav is used, it means zeruz. It's this sort of rushing and enthusiasm that we're talking about. And the Talmud section continues miyad uledorot, which teaches us that when we get a commandment with the word tzav like that, it applies not only to those receiving it or hearing it in the moment, but for all time, ledorot, for all generations. Tzav et Aharon, the parsha opens, tell Aaron about this mitzvah, that he should do mitzvot with spirit, with urgency, and with passion. Now the rabbis do a little bit of wordplay and understand the word tzav to be related not only to the word mitzvot, but also to matzot, like matzah. Ushmartem et hamatzot, we're taught. You should keep the feast of unleavened bread. And the Midrash tells us don't read matzot, unleavened bread, rather mitzvot, commandments. If a mitzvah comes to your hand, if a mitzvah is available to you, do not delay its performance. Al tachmitzena, literally, don't let it become chametz. If a mitzvah is available to you, do not delay. I wonder what this means, don't delay the performance of a mitzvah. And what does it mean to rush towards mitzvot? I think about the Talmud in Brachot, Masechet Brachot, gives us an instruction that we're permitted and encouraged to run to synagogue, but forbidden from running home from synagogue. You can imagine, we should be so excited, like I know we all are, to get to shul Saturday morning, that we should run to shul. And we should be so sad that services are over, that we should meander, we should walk home. There's something in here that our tradition wants us to know or wants us to feel. We should have great excitement for doing mitzvot, for prayer, for connecting with God, and for being in community. And this concept is embodied in the midah, or the trait known as zerizut. Zerizut is running to shul. It's excitement for doing mitzvot. As Rabbi Mike Moskowitz, our recent guest, wrote, each mitzvah is formed from these inner thoughts of loving attraction, illuminating the action with the light of affectionate attention. How do we give this kind of attention, this individual, specific attention to each mitzvah we do? These words, these are all different ways of describing the passion we should have for God and for doing God's service. Avraham Avinu is the poster child for our understanding of zerizut because of how he jumped up to greet his guests with zeal, with excitement. He rushes to greet them, to serve them, and to care for them. And we come to understand this as the ideal, that we too should rush towards service, jump up to greet the chance of connecting with God. Today we mimic Avraham in any number of ways. We show up for Shiva Minyanim, we come to shul, we make a seder. All these things take work and time, and the work and the time don't get in the way or don't push us away from doing it. We do them for our own good and for the good of our community. Not long after Avraham greets his guests, God calls on him to sacrifice his son Isaac. Vayashkem Avraham baboker, and Avraham gets up and goes. No hesitation. The same eagerness, the same passion, the same enthusiasm. Here, Avraham's zerizut overtakes him. Rabbi Alexandria Shuval Weiner writes that it's possible to become so infused with zerizut that we lose sight of the things that are most important. And this is the case here for our ancestor Avraham. Eagerness to serve spills into zealotry, into passion that is unchecked. And he sets his son Isaac on the altar and comes very, very close to killing him. The very thing that makes the very thing that makes Avraham so righteous, when unchecked, unrestrained, becomes dangerous. And so I would imagine that there's a healthy zerizut. There's a healthy way to rush towards service, to act with urgency, and there's unhealthy zerizut as well. There's a way to rush towards mitzvot that is based in compassion and seeking spiritual connection. And there is also, right next door to that, zealotry, radicalism, fanaticism, based in that same desire to do what is right and to do God's word here on earth, but instead of being grounded in compassion and love, it's violent. And this zealotry is what we are seeing in the West Bank yet again, as Israeli settler violence against Palestinians has reached new heights in recent weeks. Extremists People who identify as observant Jews and say they're acting in the name of Israel and God. They're Jewish terrorists who use Israel's real security concerns to dehumanize and attack Palestinians, to take away what rights and safety they have. These radical Israeli settlers use God and Torah to justify their heinous actions. But of course, neither our God nor our Torah preach hate like this or violence like this. There have been over 100 acts of violence against Palestinians in the West Bank just in the last couple weeks. And I'm at a loss to understand any justification for this sort of treatment of other humans. Murder, burning down houses, chasing people from their homes, these are not Jewish values. These are not ways to get good PR for Israel on the world stage, and none of this makes Israel any safer, or our job as those who care about Israel, who advocate for Israel, who love Israel, any easier either. Slowly, we're seeing leaders from the settler community and the religious right speaking out, and it's not enough. But at least there are some voices within that community speaking up. The London Initiative is a network of people committed to advancing the state of Israel in 4 spheres: liberal democracy, fairness for all citizens, secure peace with the Palestinian people, and improved relations between all citizens of Israel and world Jewry. And the London Initiative folks wrote an open letter to Israeli President Herzog, which has now been signed by thousands of rabbis, Jewish leaders, and Jewish community members all around the world. In part, that letter said the following: Mr. President, you have consistently affirmed our conviction that as diaspora Jews, it is both our right and obligation to speak up and speak out. In this regard, we will continue to support citizens of Israel of all backgrounds, working courageously to protect the safety, dignity, and freedom of innocent Palestinians and uphold the rule of law. We note with deep regret the absence of such a commitment from this government and call on you to share our profound concerns, as here set out, with the Prime Minister, members of the government, and members of the Knesset. Mr. President, Pesach is upon us, and as we have for millennia, Jews everywhere will reflect on the promise of freedom and the responsibilities of power. We call on you to use your position to implore the government to put an end to the abomination of Jewish extremist terror and the era of impunity for its perpetrators. Should this remain unchecked, it will undermine the promise of the Jewish people's freedom, security, and sovereignty. End quote. It's important that these words come from us. It's necessary for us, Zionists, people who care deeply about Israel, about her future and security, specifically us, to speak out about these travesties which are being committed in our name and in the name of our values. It's desperately important that we reclaim Zerizut, that we show the world and we show ourselves that it is possible to live with passion and energy for Jewish life, with love for Israel and excitement for Torah, that we be zealous for Torah values like justice, peace, dialogue, and dignity. There's a lot of rushing to do this week. Our houses need to be cleaned. We're finding chametz in places I didn't even know we ate anything in the last year. Tables need to be set, and Pesach songs need to be remembered and relearned. Pesach is frantic. It's a season of urgency, of rushing towards freedom. But not all urgency is holy. And so this week, as Jews, as our Beth El community and Jews all around the world rush to prepare for the festival, I hope we will ask what kind of Zerizut we are holding and feeding into? Are we committed to building, to connecting and honoring God? Or is our urgency and our passion perpetuating harm? May our passion always be guided by compassion. May we bring in Pesach with open hearts, and may we rush each day towards justice, dignity, and peace. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with